When you turn 65, mornings start to feel different. For me, they began with a dull pounding inside my chest, a pulse I could feel in my ears even before I opened my eyes. I'd sit on the edge of the bed, waiting for my heart to calm down, but it never did. "It's just age," the doctor said, handing me another prescription bottle. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I wasn't just getting older, I was getting weaker. Every morning, I'd take my pills, sip my coffee, and stare at the blood pressure monitor flashing red numbers. 150, 160, sometimes higher. It felt like a countdown I couldn't stop. Then one day, while waiting in line at the pharmacy, I overheard a man say something that made me stop cold. "You don't need more pills," he said softly. "You just need the right drink." I laughed until he showed me his wrist monitor reading 120/75. He was 72 and calm as the morning sea. That night, I couldn't sleep. What did he mean, the right drink? And how could something so simple do what all my medicine couldn't?
That night, I couldn't shake his words out of my head. The right drink. It sounded ridiculous at first, but something about the calm in that old man's voice stayed with me. He looked strong, steady, the way I used to feel years ago. The next morning, I decided to find out what he meant. I went back to the pharmacy, hoping I'd see him again. And there he was, standing by the vitamin aisle, comparing bottles of magnesium and potassium like he'd been doing it for years. I walked over, and before I could even speak, he smiled. "You're the guy with the monitor. Still running high?" I nodded. "Every morning. 155, 160. I've tried everything. Less salt, less stress, more walks. Nothing works." He laughed gently. "It's not about doing less, my friend. It's about doing right." Then he picked up a small green powder packet and said, "This saved me." It was beetroot powder. At first I thought he was joking, but he wasn't smiling anymore. "Nitrates," he said. "That's the secret. Natural nitrates turn into nitric oxide. It relaxes your arteries, lowers pressure, improves blood flow. It's like nature's blood pressure valve." I blinked. I'd never heard anyone talk like that, not even my doctor. "You're telling me beets can do what my pills can't?" I asked. He shrugged. "Not magic, just chemistry, the kind your body forgot how to make after 60. He handed me the packet. "Mix 1 spoon in water every morning. Give it a week. See what happens." I bought it, more out of curiosity than belief. That night I sat at the kitchen table reading about beets on my phone. Turns out he was right. Studies from Harvard, the British Heart Foundation, even the Mayo Clinic said the same thing. Beets, spinach, celery, and arugula were all high in nitrates that helped produce nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxed blood vessels. Less pressure meant less strain on the heart. It was like giving tired arteries a rest they'd been begging for. The next morning, I made the drink. 1 spoon of beetroot powder and warm water. The color was deep red, like sunset in a glass. It didn't taste great, but there was something raw and earthy about it, something that felt alive. Day 1, no difference. Day 2, the same numbers, 158/90. But by the 5th day, something changed. When I checked my blood pressure, it read 138/83. I blinked twice thinking it was a mistake. But the next morning, it dropped again, 128/78. I hadn't seen numbers like that in 10 years. I felt lighter, calmer, almost peaceful. The headaches that used to hit me by noon were gone. My hands stopped trembling when I reached for my coffee mug. And for the first time in years, my heart didn't feel like a ticking bomb. My wife Mary noticed it too. She said, "You look different. You're not holding your chest anymore." I smiled. "Maybe I'm finally doing something right." She laughed softly. "Whatever it is, keep doing it." That week, I called my doctor for a follow-up. He was shocked when he saw my readings. "What did you change?" he asked. "We haven't adjusted your medication." I told him about the drink. Beetroot, lemon, a pinch of ginger. He paused for a long moment and then said, "That's actually quite brilliant." He explained that nitric oxide production naturally declines after age 60, which stiffens arteries and raises pressure. But with nitrate-rich foods, you can boost it naturally. For the first time, I felt like I understood my own body. All these years, I thought my heart was the problem, but maybe it just needed help breathing again. Every morning I'd sit by the window with my red drink, sunlight streaming through the blinds, feeling grateful that something so small could bring such peace. It wasn't just lowering my blood pressure, it was giving me my mornings back. But the journey wasn't over, because as my numbers dropped, I started noticing something else: energy. My legs didn't ache when I climbed stairs. I started walking again, just a few blocks at first, then a mile, then 2, and every step felt like a heartbeat saying, "Thank you." I didn't know it then, but what I had stumbled on wasn't just a drink. It was a signal, a wake-up call to every senior who believed they were too old to heal. And I was going to prove it, one glass at a time.
When I started seeing real changes, I wanted to understand what was happening inside my body. I wasn't the kind of man to believe in luck or coincidence. I wanted facts, truth, proof. So I began reading everything I could about blood pressure and nitric oxide. And what I discovered was both shocking and humbling. Our bodies are like beautiful machines, but even machines rust when they lose oil. For us, that oil is nitric oxide. When we're young, our arteries are flexible. They expand and contract like soft rubber hoses. This keeps blood flowing smoothly, evenly, and keeps our pressure balanced. But after 60, the body's nitric oxide levels drop by nearly 70%. That's when arteries start to stiffen, forcing the heart to work harder to push blood through. The result? High blood pressure, fatigue, dizziness, and a heart constantly fighting uphill. But nitric oxide has a secret. It can be restored naturally. When you eat nitrate-rich foods like beets, spinach, or celery, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide gas inside your blood vessels. It's like opening tiny windows in your arteries, letting blood flow freely again. And the best part? It happens quietly, without side effects, without prescriptions, without fear. I remember reading a 2018 study from the Journal of Hypertension. It said that just 1 glass of beetroot juice could lower blood pressure by up to 10 points in older adults within a week. Not because it was magic, but because the body was finally getting what it needed to breathe. Then there was magnesium, the mineral most seniors don't get enough of. It helps muscles relax, including the ones wrapped around your arteries. Without magnesium, those arteries stay tight, blood pressure rises, and your heart strains harder every day. That's why the man at the pharmacy was looking at magnesium bottles. He knew the truth before I did. I started adding a pinch of magnesium citrate to my morning drink, along with a slice of lemon and a small piece of ginger. The lemon helped my body absorb nutrients better, and the ginger improved circulation. It wasn't a recipe. It was a conversation between my body and nature. Every sip felt like a quiet promise, a small step back toward balance. And the science backed it up. Researchers from Johns Hopkins found that seniors who maintained higher nitric oxide levels had better heart rhythm, improved memory, and even stronger muscles. It was like nitric oxide wasn't just healing the heart, it was whispering life back into every cell. As days passed, I started feeling subtle changes I couldn't explain. My hands didn't go numb when I held the steering wheel. My face wasn't flushed after climbing the stairs. And for the first time in years, my sleep was deep, calm, and dream-filled. Mary noticed too. She said, "You don't snore anymore," she said one morning, smiling over her cup of tea. I laughed. Maybe I just stopped fighting my heart. She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. She said, "You finally look like you believe you're healing." She was right. I was healing, not just from hypertension, but from fear. All those years I thought age was a sentence, not a stage. But science had shown me otherwise. Our bodies never stop listening. We just stopped speaking their language. And that language was food, real food. Beets for nitric oxide, spinach for nitrates, bananas and avocados for potassium, ginger for circulation, lemon for cleansing. I realized every natural ingredient had a purpose, a function, a code my body once understood perfectly.
Every time I made that drink, I'd imagine millions of tiny vessels opening, relaxing, and smiling again after years of pressure. I could almost feel my heart saying thank you. Then came a moment that sealed my faith in what I'd learned. My neighbor, Carl, 73, retired firefighter, came by one morning panting after walking just from his driveway. He looked like I used to look, tired, red-faced, holding his chest. He said, "Doc wants to double my meds. I don't know if I can take more." I handed him a glass of my beet drink. I said, "Try this for a week. Just 1 week." A week later, he came knocking again, this time with a grin I'll never forget. He said, 122/76, he said proudly, holding up his monitor. He felt lighter, calmer, more alive, just like me. It was working, not just for me, but for others too. That's when I realized this story wasn't just mine anymore. It was every senior who thought they were running out of time, every heart that believed it had beaten its last strong beat. Science had given me my answer, and nature had given me the cure. Today, I still drink it. 1 glass every morning, no matter where I am. Sometimes it's fresh beets blended with apple and lemon, sometimes just the powder and warm water. But it's more than a drink now. It's a ritual, a reminder that healing doesn't stop when you turn 60, it begins when you believe again. And as the sun rises, painting gold across my kitchen counter, I whisper a quiet prayer. Gratitude for the man at the pharmacy, for that one conversation that changed my life, and for the body that never stopped trying to heal. I thought I was broken, but maybe I was just waiting to remember what health really feels like.
It's been 9 months since that first glass of beet juice changed my mornings forever. And I still remember that heartbeat, fast, restless, and scared, that used to greet me every dawn. Now, my heart beats steady, peaceful, certain. Every morning, before the sun fully rises, I sit by the kitchen window, my cup of red drink in hand, the world still quiet, and I breathe. It's no longer about fixing something that's broken. It's about thanking this body for never giving up on me. Mary says she's never seen me this alive before. We walk every evening now, slow, easy walks down the neighborhood street, holding hands like we used to in our 30s. The air feels lighter. The steps don't burn. The world, somehow, feels softer. And sometimes when I look at her smiling beside me, I realize something profound. Healing isn't just about the body. It's about the soul remembering what peace feels like. My blood pressure now reads 120/78, perfectly balanced. No more pounding temples, no more heavy chest, no more restless nights staring at the ceiling. Just calm, stillness, gratitude. But more than that, I've learned a lesson that I want every person over 60 to hear. You are not too old to heal. Your body isn't your enemy. It's your oldest friend, waiting for you to listen again. Doctors once told me that blood pressure only goes one way, up. But they were wrong, because the human body was built to recover, to repair, to restore, if only we feed it what it truly needs. Nature doesn't ask for miracles. It just asks for consistency. One small action, every day, becomes medicine over time. That's what this morning drink taught me, the power of slow healing. And so every morning I make my drink, a spoon of beetroot powder, a pinch of magnesium, a squeeze of lemon, a slice of ginger, warm water, stir, breathe, sip. Simple, gentle, powerful. It's more than a recipe. It's a ritual of life. Because every sip reminds me that I'm still here, still learning, still capable of change. And I've seen it change others too. Neighbors, friends, even Mary. She drinks her own version now, with turmeric and honey for her joints. It's become a small movement on our street, seniors reclaiming their mornings, 1 cup at a time. We share stories now, not about illness, but about progress. Numbers going down, energy going up, hope coming back. It's beautiful, watching people who thought life was slowing down suddenly pick up pace again.
I often think back to that man at the pharmacy, his calm voice, his quiet wisdom. If I hadn't heard him that day, who knows where I'd be? Sometimes healing begins with a stranger's whisper. Now, whenever I see someone holding their chest or sighing in exhaustion, I tell them the same words he told me. You don't need more pills. You just need the right drink. And every time I say it, I see their eyes soften just like mine did. Because deep down, we all want to believe healing can be that simple. And maybe it is. Maybe the secret to good health after 60 isn't hidden in some lab, but right there, in our kitchen, waiting to be rediscovered. So to everyone listening, if you're over 60 and you wake up tired, scared, or in pain, please remember this. You are not broken. Your body still knows how to heal. It's just waiting for you to believe again. Start with something simple. Start with something natural. Start with a drink that whispers peace back into your heart. Because healing doesn't begin with medicine. It begins with hope. Every sunrise is another chance to start over. Every heartbeat is proof that your story isn't done. And sometimes all it takes is one small choice, one sip, to remind you how strong you really are. As for me, I'll keep drinking my beets, thanking the morning and smiling at every heartbeat I once feared. Because after all these years, I've learned the truth. Over 60 doesn't mean over life. It means over excuses. It means finally listening to what your body's been whispering all along. Take care of me, and I'll take care of you. This is my story, and maybe it can be yours, too. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for your coffee or your pills, try this instead. One drink, one new beginning. Because you're never too old to heal naturally.